studio. I prefer to create on MDF board because I like the rigidity of it. It doesn't bend. You can find it easily at your like Home Depot, Menards. Hello, Wendy. It's just a construction material, and my husband will cut it for me. Sometimes you can even get it cut for yourself at your local lumber store into the sizes that you want. And then I prime it with a stain blocking primer, so it's all sealed. So this is a stain block. I think I use Kills on this, which is a stain blocking primer. So none of the resins would pop through. And then I have a great little surface to cut this on. And what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using my frame here. This is that sticky stuff that is the stuff that you hang up with posters. What you're going to do is I'm going to set that on there, and I'm going to use this system as like a little floating frame system. It's going to be great. I'll be able to just temporarily put that in there, whatever you can even do a little Velcro behind it, and then you can change them out and use them for different pieces. So this is just that little Dollar General store picture that I found. And it works great. So what I'm going to do is I started with a blue border around my edges, and this is just a piece of paper that came out of a hymnal. Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration, she sold these on her auction. She has a different variety of papers, so if you're ever interested in maybe picking up some papers, you can go on the auction site, and she sells these periodically, or just reach out and contact her if you want to get some. Got you shared out, I think. Well, good. Yeah, if you it doesn't work normally with doing StreamYard, you kind of got to do a little workaround, and that's the workaround, is that you just don't click on my picture, my video. Let it be, before you click on to the scroll or the feed, there'll be an option to share out there. So that's where you got to share it from. It won't let you share it once it's up into, if you click on it and make my picture big. There's always something, learning new things, right? And you can also find me on YouTube, I guess. You can find me there. So if you want to watch me big, that's where you're going to be located. So I just painted a nice little border. I'm going to make a pretty bright color picture. Last night when I was working on my items, I did a bright background as well and did this little mixed media piece over there. So I'm going to kind of do something similar but different. So I'm going to be working some other materials in there. Now, let's see. I got a little plastic palette knife, and I'll probably be using that. And I'm going to water down some color of my paint. So I'm going to have some of this pink color. It's just a apple barrel color. I'm going to be using some of the fluorescent. This is one of my favorite fluorescence paints. Oh, it's going to pop open, and I'm going to get it everywhere. Let's see. We're going to put a little bit here. This is just a play day, so I have no idea if this is even going to turn out right. But you know what? You got to play with your art materials and experiment with it, because that's the only way you're going to find out what works and what doesn't work. You don't have to create great art every time you do something. It can just be for fun, and that's okay too. I'm going to put a little bit of this blue out there. This is another acrylic Liquitex color. I'm going to put some green too. I'm going to have a little bit of green. I like that bright green. Oops, I got to shake it up. And this is just a random bunch of paints. These are some of the ones I was using last night. And let's see, what other color do I want? So I got my blue, my green, I want a little bit of orange. I'm going to take a little bit of orange because I love it. You're not on your page? I know. I see that. I am on YouTube is where I am today, over there, by sheer accident. But I say maybe it's serendipity in case I get kicked out. Play days are fun, right, Jeannie? All right, let's go ahead and water down some of these paints. Let's add some water. So we're just going to add a little bit of water. Play days, this is just a play day. So grab your cup of coffee or your tea or whatever you might have. You're live on your personal page. On my personal page? Oh my goodness. Well, I guess my friends and family are going to see me playing with paint today. Oh, good grief. Here we go. Let's go this way. My friends and family, they never get to see me live or do any of those fun things. So I'll be sharing out there. It'll be serendipity. It'll be just serendipity. Okay, so that was the light pink. This is some of the bright pink. You're going to want to hang around because I'm going to be using a little bit of Miss Mary's printables again, but I'm going to use them in a little bit of unusual way. Now, when you're doing this process and you're going to have some warm color, so I have like my warm colors, my pinks, my bright fluorescent that's in that red family, my orange pink. I'm not going to want to mix my, well, I could mix some blue and that would play okay, but I'm not going to want to mix my green and my green on top of it. So I'm going to have to give a little bit of dry time. What will happen if I mix my green? That's not going to blow up or anything if you mix your green over there. But what will happen is that, and I don't want a lot of that blue covered up on my edge either. Let's see, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to wipe some of that off so I have still some of my blue. I don't want to cover up all of that pretty blue. I still want some of that showing. Okay, let's come in here. All right. Well, there we go. We're going to add, but what I was saying is you don't want to add your green on top of here because you're going to get just mud because that's across the aisle. So what I like to do is I like to put my warm colors on, give them a little bit of a chance to dry, put some heat on them or something, and then put my cool colors on top of that. So this is just my first layer. We're going to put this on here. So it's all play day. It's all good, right? It's all good. It's all good. We'll make it work. At least I'm in the Take 5 event, Friday Friends event. I'm there. That's where, ideally, that's where I'm supposed to be, is inside of there. So that's good. You know, you got to laugh at yourself every once in a while or laugh at the situation. If you don't, you're going to just drive yourself crazy. And we all try to do our best and we want it to all work out. But you know what? You don't always get that. So you just got to be able to roll with it. So I'm just going to roll with it today. Even my project is kind of a roll project. This is just talking about when you create art. It's easy to kind of get in your head and think everything you have to do has to be perfect, or you can't do anything unless it's going to be perfect. And that's not the truth. And you're going to learn more about your materials, your art materials, what you like and what you don't like. You can build from this. So if I do this once and I kind of like it, it might turn out, it might not turn out. That's a great jumping off point for me for the next time. Do it again. You don't only have to do up things once. You can do it again and create things. I could take this and decide, well, I didn't really like all that paint mucky muck behind there. Maybe I didn't like the colors. Maybe it would look different in a different color. You could do it again. Do it again. And then you're going to learn more things the next time you do it. So this time I'm going to take a little bit of my blue, my green. Now I don't even know my colors. Green. And I'm going to slather some of this on here. So now because my colors are fairly dry, behind here, I'm not going to make mud. So this is more of my cooler color. Even though this has a lot of yellow in it, it's still going to look better on this layer instead of mucking it all up with those reds underneath there. This is kind of a translucent color too. This is rather like scribbling. This is so much fun. I love to scribble. I really do like to scribble. I'm going to take my palette art and I'm going to kind of brush off some of these strokes, even kind of get down there and take my flat end of my thing and then just give it kind of a rub. That's going to give you a different texture. All the little subtle things. It's going to give you a different texture. My friend from Christy's on from Funky Junk Inspiration, and she loves background textures. She always talks about how the yummy goodness of background textures is great. Oh, let's see. Oh, I didn't want that up there. Oop, it's making me a little nervous. Yesterday, too, when I was going live with my StreamYard, because that's what I like to use to give you but it kind of messed up, too, and it was doing weird things on its own. You kind of felt like it had its own little thing going on without letting me know that it was going on. And even today, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, on silent, or on, like Do Not Disturb, and said I was working. So you think my phone would say, okay, she's working, we're going to leave her alone. No, it's still popping up, but I'm hoping it's not going to click me out. So now I'm adding that blue color that I had in the background, and I'm just going to add, I'm using my palette knife, and I'm just skating over the top. So I'm creating some texture without being super heavy texture on there. Ooh, love those colors. Love those colors. I like using that palette knife because it's going to give me a different texture than what a brush is going to. Last night when I was live in the group, I had asked if anybody had done like a straight on palette knife painting. that are on there. Thanks a lot, Christy. Oh, I'm so sorry that Facebook was being difficult today. I'm winging it as well. I said I accidentally went live on my own page, I guess, or it's in my own page, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if I'm live on YouTube. You know, some days it works, some days it doesn't. Okay, so let's pick this up and let's take a look at all of these beautiful colors. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that beautiful? I love all those pretty colors. I can also go in with a little skewer because things are still wet a little bit. Your kind of colors, right, Susan? I sure did enjoy that little kit that you were showing today with the ink and doing all those things with the pillows. That was fun to see. The ink is so different in your, works differently in your group. With your inks that you use and your kits that you sell. It's always interesting to see what you can do. And I always think it looks like transfer magic because when you pull them up, it's just so perfect. Just so perfect. So perfect. Okay, and Christy, I didn't get a chance to jump over to YouTube to watch you because I was kind of setting up for this. All right, so we've got all of our colors on here. Let's give this a little bit of a dry as well. Okay, so you can see I've had a little oops boo-boo right here where my paper pulled up. That underneath paper is kind of fragile. I'm just going to put some paint in there. It's not going to matter. I'm going to cover it up. Because it hasn't had a lot of time to dry, things are kind of fragile underneath there. My favorite glue to use is the Liquitex acrylic medium. I like that glue because it's a nice consistency for glue. It dries fairly non-sticky. Howdy, howdy, Facebook user. I'm using StreamYard today, so you have to give permission for Facebook or StreamYard to show your name. That's how, if you want me to. Otherwise, you could just pop your name in there to let me know who's watching. Okay, so we got a little bit of color going on here. Now I'm going to be covering up some of this, but I'm going to use a light, I think maybe a light pink. I'm going to use some light pink on this. Okay, so we're going to do this. And then I'm going to be throwing a white kitty on the top is what I'm going to be doing. If you follow my page, you know I love to draw kitties. I love to draw kitties. I'm going to take, and I thought I had my alcohol wipes just sitting right here because I knew I was going to need them. Oh, they're underneath my frame. Now these are the alcohol wipes. Instead of baby wipes, it's alcohol wipes. So it's going to help me clean the acrylic paint off of my tools a little easier, off my hands a little easier because of that alcohol. I like to use them too for my artwork because I can, oh, it's Gloria. Hi, Gloria. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, it's kind of a fun background, right? So this is going to clean that acrylic paint so much easier than just even a baby wipe because it's got a little bit of alcohol in there. Let's go ahead and we're going to make a pink background. Now, my 4-year-old granddaughter, her favorite color right now is pink. She loves everything pink. She loves everything pink. Now, I'm going to take this pink. If you ask her, what color should it be? It should be pink. So I'm going to just channel my inner girl, and I'm going to go with kind of a cover of pink on the top because I want some of that background color showing through, but not all. And you might say, well, why is she covering everything up? Well, because mixed media and doing art is the more layers a lot of times, the better it's going to be. So I'm going to see some of that background. I'm going to move both ways. This is not a great tool. It's just a plastic one that I got from the dollar store. I'm sure they sell these in packs. And you can pick some up just to try them, see if you like them. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more color on there. So I'm going to be doing pink. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to make it dry. And then we're going to start a little bit of drying. And oops, I'm going to draw a white kitty on here. And I may ending up more pink on here too. So we'll see. As my picture develops, we'll see how it goes. So this is a stage. So allow yourself to play and to experiment. You can do this on paper too. Those who follow along, I do a lot of watercolor on my page. You can use your watercolor paper with acrylics too. It should withstand a lot of moisture. That's why watercolor paper, you have to have a lot of withstanding of moisture. So that will work well too. So you can paint on paper with your acrylics or whatever. And now, okay, so you can see how I really kind of covered that up a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead. Now I didn't add any white in there because my kitty is going to be white. I love to do the palette art. Yes, you said you did a horse that you had created. That would be fun. You should share that. If you feel comfortable, you could share it in the Take 5 group. We really enjoy and encourage our members in the Take 5 group to share what they create. We love to see it. We love to celebrate it. And I think it always encourages other people too to share. And we love to share your things. So, or encourage other people to share as well. Whoops, here we go. I'm going to scratch in a little bit in the background. So I'm just going to bring this up a little bit on my edges. I want it a little bit rough. Now I can go ahead and take my palette knife again. I'm doing things two-handed here, drawing with one hand. I can come in, and once this dries a little bit, I'm going to let it dry just a tiny bit more. I can come in and rub that a little bit more with the back end of my palette knife and pick up even a little bit more texture. This is pretty color. This is just that inexpensive pink parfait from Apple Barrel. You can mix your paints. I have all different qualities of paint, so I have some that are more like artist grade paints. I have some craft paints. I'm not necessarily picky about what I use. If I'm going to sell a piece like in a gallery or hang it up there in the gallery, when I was selling things in the gallery, I only used a certain grade of paint then because it was kind of expected, so there wouldn't be any chance of things fading or having issues down the road. So I always tried to use more artist grade paints for that. But for this is just a play day, and I can go ahead and do this. And quite honestly, even if I did sell it, it's probably going to last. It's going to last those people's lifetime without any issues. You know, I have no idea. I always say I would be surprised if any art that I ever created would last much past the person who just owned it. Like, I'm not going to be expecting that my things are going to be a generational piece that somebody's going to keep or have for that long. So it's like, who am I kidding? Just use what you have and create. This is just the fun part. So I'm taking the back end of my tool here, and I'm giving it a rub. And what this is doing, it's kind of burnishing the colors. Oh, that one spot there. I'm gonna end up having the big old hole there. And like I said today, this project might not even turn out. It may just be a hot mess. And that's okay too. And that's okay too. Because that's kind of what today is. It's kind of just a play day, just an experiment day. Okay, so we have my little background done. Now I'm going to show you I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this kitty on. If it shows up, I'm going to just put this little kitty on my channel on Painting Crafty. What I like to do is do step-by-step draw-alongs with people, and a chance and an opportunity for people to gain, well, it's learning muscle memory and building your confidence on drawing things. So what I like to do is I break the steps down, and then people can have a chance to learn. They have an opportunity to come along and practice drawing, because it's just like anything. It's just a skill. It's not for some. It's for all who would like to do part of it and enjoy it. It's just something you can practice, and you can actually get pretty good at doing it, or you develop your own style, and it doesn't have to look like mine to be good. But what I wanted to create today was just a real whimsical kitty, almost like childlike art. And this is the one I drew out on my parchment paper just to get an idea of like my size of what I wanted. So you could do this too. And then what you would do is you could either use transfer paper, which since I cleaned my studio, I don't know what I did with that. It should be over there on the thing, but it's not there, so I don't know what I did with it. So I don't have it, but you could take a regular pencil and kind of scribble on the back here and darken it, and then flip it over and draw it is what you could do. But I'm just going to freehand it because it's just a kitty. It's just a kitty. So this is pretty tender. I'm going to just make a U shape here for its little face. And then we're going to do the ears, which kind of come up, over, and then up again. So they're just little triangles is what they are. Now to do the front, like I want it to look like it's either flying, more like flying is what I want it to do. So I'm going to kick the legs out so they go in front of her. So this one's going to be coming down this way, and then around and back. So there's her little front leg like that. Now she's going to have a back. I'm going to start with the back because then that'll give me an idea where I'm lining up my next one. I'm going to start about here on the side here. We're going to come around, and this is going to be her hip. So we're going to come around this way. Now I want her to look like she's flying. So this leg has got to come out. It's going to go this direction. And then we're going to come back in. And then she's got a little bit of curve up. So this leg and this leg are going to be connected. So now I'm going to come down here, or this is like her belly. So she's flying in the air. So this is her belly right here. And then to do her little back leg, I'm going to come out here a little bit more. I'm going to make it a little shorter, and it's going to be partially showing. So I'm not going to see this whole back leg like that. Now the other little foot, I think I might have to make this a little longer, make it look like it's going with these. She's got her little foot. And then this little foot is going to kick out this way. So we're going to have like, she's flying, she's happy, because all kitties should fly, right? And then she's going to have a little tail that comes right up here. So it's going to just pop up. And there's going to be my little tail. All right. Now I wanted to do a white kitty today. I don't often do white kitties. So I'm going to do a little white kitty. Let's see what we got going here. I have a little bit of white. Now I'm just using really inexpensive brushes. These are those little triangle brushes from the kid area, but I kind of like them because of they're a little bit firmer. I like a brush for acrylics to kind of have a little bit of bounce in it. Okay, so I'm going to come around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this kitty white, and I'm just doing this haphazardly. I'm not doing anything fancy. This is just drawing it in. Okay, paint it up. It's play day today. It's play day. And since I'm doing this mixed media version, I'm going to be adding some things to her. So she's not all going to be paint. Let's see. And you know, this doesn't even have to be technically right. So just channel your inner child when you're doing this. And you just got to let yourself loose and know that even if the proportions aren't right, it's still going to be fun. If that's kind of the nature of this drawing, is it's supposed to be fun. So it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be loose. And let's go ahead and put her little face in here. And I might need to make her little kitty face a little bigger to go with her body. So this is easy. Whoops. She's going to be big. So she's going to be like this mystical cat because I'm going to be putting a rider on her. And my rider isn't quite the proportion of what it should be because she's probably going to be a little too small for this. Well, this is a giant cat. She's magical. She's flying. So you got to tell a little story when you're doing this. Okay, so there we go. All right, she's kind of cute. She's kind of cute. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to take a little bit more of my pink and I'm going to kind of carve out this area a little bit more and add some more pink around my cat. This is pretty translucent paint, so you're still going to see some of that texture behind there and the color. But I do want to make it feel like it's a pink drawing with some highlights or busyness behind it without being completely pink. If that makes sense. If that makes sense. Okay, so let's give her a chance to dry. I'm calling her her already because she's just really cute. She's really cute. And let's see, I don't think I have any gray paint with me today. I might have to figure out something else for gray paint today. I have some other things. I have lots of things sitting here because I've been creating so much the last couple days. I have all kinds of things sitting all around me. The other day when I showed you my desk, when it was totally a disaster, that's real life. That's how my studio looks. And I'm okay with seeing even some of my that paint being translucent underneath there. I'm fine with that too. I'll better move that piece of paper so I can actually see what I got going on here. My time, I gotta keep track of my time just in case that I don't want to go over on my time for the next presenter. Today in the Take 5, we have all kinds of different creative ideas and creators sharing today. Susan started it off this morning with a great kit idea on pillows with ink. It looks wonderful. And then up next after that was Christy, and Facebook wasn't being nice and kicked her off, and she had to go on over into YouTube, so you'll be able to find the rest of her video there. And then now it's me, and up after me is Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration, I believe. I'm hoping I got that right. Okay, so that's kind of dry. Now, Miss Mary from the Painted Peach, she has started doing printables. And so this was her latest printable one. And on Wednesday, when we were inside of the Take 5 group, Kendra and I, we did a Valentine things for her to hang on her tree, and they look absolutely adorable. And they were little tiny mixed media pieces. Well, I decided I was going to use another little image here, the sweet little girl, and I cut her out, and I'm going to put her on here riding the kitty, because why not, right? We don't have to use the images all of the way that they were meant to be, so you could be as creative as you want. So this little girl, I had sprayed the pages with like a fixative first, the whole page, because I knew I'd probably use them eventually. So I'm going to put her up a little bit. Let's make her go this way, like she's I'm going to make her facing, like she's leaning in and she's riding this kitty. So I did spray this with a fixative on the paper, so that should hold my ink pretty well, and it's all ready to go. So that's how I did it first. Okay, I'm going to give this a dry so I can go ahead and add some things on there. So what about doing it this way is that I'm adding some realistic things, so some images that are more realistic. And hi, Joni. And then now I'm going to add some more whimsical in there. So you can mix your pieces up. They don't have to be the same. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give her a green dress. Okay, so I'm going to just come in with my brush, and I'm not going to worry about if it matches perfectly. So I'm going to come right in here and give her this green dress. I'm probably going to cut out some of the flowers that are on there. Now this is kind of light, so I'm probably going to have to add some white in there. This is just a play day. I have no idea if this is going to turn out. And I'm sorry, Mary, if I make your your printable and you're like, what on earth did she do with my printable? I can guarantee you it's probably not something a lot of people are going to think of. But you can use the printables in a lot of different ways. You don't have to use them just as a straight image. So let's go this way. Thinking I'm going to pick up some of my pink and pop that in there too, underneath there. So I'm just creating a little dress for her, like so. Okay. And we're going to come down here and add a little bit more. All right, I need to go grab some peach colored paint because I didn't have that. So hang on, please. Some flesh tone. Let's see if I can't find some real quickly. You know, I have so many things out in my studio, but invariably there's always something you forget or you don't have right next to you. So let's go ahead and add. I needed a flesh cone to add some arms to her when I get done. Okay, so we're gonna add this dress. It's kind of pretty. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more here. So I'm just adding this little whimsical nature to her. Now I'm gonna go on her and paint her too. So I'm gonna add some color to my little girl. So it's not all just the little printed image. A good spot might be right up here on her little flowers and her hair. So I can add a little bit more color and change it up just a little bit. Add some little color on here and pop in there. Cute. Let's add this little part here. And I can come in with some pen work too and make it cute too. So I'm adding some layers, but I'm still using her, her dress and my colors. It's going to be in there, and I have to blend some of that in there. I'm thinking I have to add a little bit of blue because she's got quite a bit of like that bluish green on there. She's got the sweetest little face though. Sweetest little face. Okay, so my blue is kind of getting a little messy with my, my blue is getting a little messy with my green or with my pink. So I need to let that, give that a chance to dry. and not overwork that, because what I'm going to end up with is just mud. So I just need to give that a chance to dry and then come back with it. Okay, so I'm going to give that a chance to dry. I know you're thinking she's wackadoodle, but today is just about playing. Even if I do this and it absolutely turns out horrible, I will have played, I will have gotten my fingers in the paint, I'll taken a chance to see if something actually works. And if it doesn't work, I'm okay too. It'll just be a fun play day. I'm going to give this a dry because I need to put an arm in front of her, because I'm going to give her like arms like she's riding this little guy. So she's going to have some sort of rope to hang on to. So we're going to have this here. She's cute. She's cute. All right, so now her little shoulder is going to come this way, and I'm going to make her little shoulder come in front of her, like her little hand. So it's going to come here, and then this one is going to come out like her other little arm. And again, now this doesn't have to look super human-like. It can be just very childlike. And then her leg is going to come back here. So we're going to have a little leg. And then we're going to have a shoe. And this doesn't, I can allow myself time to develop it and not have it perfect right away. And I can tweak it and still work with it. It looks great. You like it? Okay, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of flesh tone or whatever this was that I could find it. Whoops. Let's add a tiny bit here. Sometimes we worry too much about making things absolutely perfect the very first time. And we don't have to. Let's see, let's come here and make her little arm. So it's going to come out. And again, this is just kind of like a childlike. Let's come down here. I'm going to put a little shoe on her too. Let's do this one here. This is her other arm. So I'm going to come up here and connect it to my body and then come around. I'm still going to leave her face, that little angel kind of face quality to her. I still want that. This is going to come around to her shoulder. And I can add more detail in with, oops, let's add a little bit of white here. Let's kind of make this a little bit more pronounced to where her hands are. Okay, cute. All right, there we go. I think I'm going to give her some pink shoes on there too. So she's riding this kitty. Let's give it a little bit more dry. It's about 35. Then we're going to have to decide what we're going to do with that kitty face too, and how we're going to work it. Now those little printables had some beautiful little flowers on them, and I might be using some of those as well. Okay, so let's give this a nice dry. She's coming together nicely. Let's see, I'm going to use my Kimberly, or maybe I'll use this one. I thought I had a Kimberly, very soft brush. I got a lot of things sitting out here. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a little bit of line work here. Now my paint is pretty soft. Might not be able to do that. We'll see. We'll see. This is my Kimberly one. It's a little bit more charcoal-y, and I might end up with a mess, but we're going to give it a line here. Okay, and so she needs to be somehow hanging on to the kitty. So let's do a little bit of line work here. And then I'm going to add some water to her to kind of give a little bit of a shadow. Yeah, this is kind of the process you go through when you're building these little mixed media pieces, and you're just kind of building up the layers. And again, if it doesn't look right, you can always just paint it over and start again. Okay, so this is some line work down here. So it's just giving her a little bit of definition where her little body is. Okay, pretty. I wish I could find my Stabilio pencil and my little mark thing. So those are a little bit of idea of for her dress and her other parts. So let's work a little bit more on this kitty face. So I'm still not wanting to make him super opaque. So I just need to make sure I rinse my brush out, because that charcoal could end up kind of, okay, so let's do a little bit more work on his face. Again, this is just going to be very childlike. I'm not going to have a lot of detail on my little guy. And I did walk over. When I walked over, I did grab some gray. So let's put some gray on there. Oop. Doing that twist thing where you twist the opposite direction and get that off. And that works. Sometimes it's still a struggle. Sometimes it's still a struggle. Okay, so let's add a little bit of gray on here. And I'm going to take a little bit of that gray, just half load my brush. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shadow here on the tummy, just a tiny bit. I'm going to layer in some color. I'm going to do that same shadow kind of underneath his chin, right there, to give it a little bit of separation. Going back into my white, picking some up. Okay, cute. Let's add a little bit of, just a tiny bit of that gray on this one too. We're going to add some here just to give him some definition. All right, let's give some gray underneath here because his leg is behind. Just to add a little bit more color to him. Or her. Did I call her before? I might have switched her. I might have switched it. I think I might have been calling it a her before, and now I'm calling it a him. Got my stuff all mixed up. Let's put some back here as well. Underneath her dress, maybe just a little bit, a tiny shadow here. Just a tiny bit. Let's put a little bit in between the ears too. There we go. Let's put some here. On the face. Cute. Let's add some here. Again, I'm not looking for this to be like anything but just playful, whimsical, nothing more than that. That's all I'm looking for. So I want it to be playful. I want it to be, you know, not exact. Let's bring this up a little bit close so you can kind of see the textures and the color in there. So you can see how it's layering in. And I put her body together by doing that. So she's still got her sweet little face on there. And I might need to add a little bit more white on my kitty's face. I might have ended up making him too dark. And I'm just doing this haphazardly. Okay. All right, let's give that chance, a little bit of chance to dry before we work a little bit more on that area there. And I'm going to go ahead. Now Mary has she has some more roses in here. And I'm thinking maybe I want to cut out some of these roses to add to this little piece. So I'm going to cut some of these out. This is those little fussy cut scissors that Christy from My Artful Adventures was using. They're my favorite ones too. The little, what are these called? Cutter bee scissors. They are so cute. And I'm thinking my kitty is going to need some flowers for her head as kind of a little bouquet up there. And these are pretty. So this would kind of go with the little girl that's on her. Let's see, and I'm thinking maybe she needs pink shoes. What do you think? Some pink shoes maybe? Some pink shoes would be great. So these little scissors work great for fussy cutting. Let's see, and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe that'll work. Okay, let's cut those in part. So I have two little ones. Usually with these little tiny papers, often I have to put them in a container so I don't lose them. Otherwise, I'll be painting and then I'll look down to see what I did with my little papers. And I will have put them someplace where now I can't even see them. Let's give this a dry again so we can get some paper stuck on there. Get some paper stuck on there. We're going to do some little big bolder lines in the background yet. And this is just going to be developing as I paint her. So I can probably work on her for as long as I want. And again, it's just going to be a little fun little piece just to have. Okay, dry, dry, dry. Okay. I like these color combinations though, the pinks, the blues, the little bit of a bright green. Okay, I think I got that dried. Let's go ahead and add some of those little flowers on my cat. Okay, so I'm going to use the same glue that I said I really like, that the Liquitex matte gel is my go-to glue. Let's put this one right here. Add some Whimsy. Okay, and again, these ones already have been sprayed with a little bit of fixative on there, so it's already gonna probably stick better for me, or the ink's not gonna move around on me. Let's put this one right here. Okay, So we'll put that there. And even if I do get a little bit of the ink moving around, I'm okay with that too. I wish I could find my Stabilo. I love a good Stabilo pencil. It's got a nice black quality to it. The lead is so great for adding some dark. Although this one, see, just when I thought I grabbed my Kimberly, I didn't. These ones are not Kimberly's. Oh, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to use them today. All right, let's give her some little shoes. I'm just going to give her like a little Mary Jane shoe. Let's see. Or just like a little slipper shoe. So I'm just going to paint her little foot down here, like she's got a little bit of a shoe on. Nothing too fancy. Nothing too fancy. And let's add a little bit of white to that shoe, just so it doesn't look, whoops, whoops. Now she's got a really big shoe on. Now she's got a really big shoe on. Oh dear, too funny, too funny. Let's take our Poscas, and I'm going to have to do a kitty face on here. Let's see. Let's draw a kitty face. I think I'm just going to do a simple little nose right here, down a muzzle, a simple little muzzle. And then I think I'm just going to do closed eyes on her because those would be simple. And I think I might even make her some eyelashes because nothing says whimsy more than cute little eyelashes. And then, of course, she's going to need some whiskers to go in there. Okay, let's go this way. And like again, my goal today is not to have anything super perfect. And I wanted that real childlike look into my painting today. So that's what I was going for. And I wanted it to be real loose and just kind of fun. Okay, so let's do a little bit here on her nose, a little bit of a highlight. And maybe I want to do her eyes in pink. Maybe I want to add pink eyes on there instead of having the dark color eyes. Let's try that. No, I don't know. Change my mind. Like I said, it's just an experiment, so we're gonna just have fun and do it. Whoops. Let's go ahead and make some whiskers like that. Cute. Oh my gosh, you guys, she is turning out adorable. Now I'm going to come in and I do watercolor on my page, so I'm going to add some watercolor pencil, the Inktense ones, because the Inktense have a lot of pigment in them, and they're great for acting like a colored pencil, but they do have a lot more ink in them. So I'm going to use a little bit of my Inktense pencils. I'm bringing out all the things today. You know, sometimes I get a little nervous where it's like, do I show people all these things? But you know what? You don't know what you don't know. And you might find some of these things interesting. And you might decide, I want to play with that too. And you might decide that it's something you want to experiment with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take where I just scribbled and I'm going to add water to this. And you're going to see how it kind of comes to life. Inktense will dry a little bit more faded than this. You can also add, you can put this on fabric too. I've seen people who do needlepoint things and who have these beautiful drawings that they do with the Inktense. And then they go ahead and they do their design on top of that. So I'm just adding that little bit of a shadow underneath her. Thanks, Donna. Thanks. Okay, and let's come here. Add a little bit more here. Let's add a little bit more back here. I'm going to add some around her tail too, just to give it a little bit more of that cherry color coming through. This is more scribbling, and I love to scribble. I love to scribble. Put some color in there. Let's add some color behind her. If they're wet too, if they hit like a wet surface while you're doing this, your color is going to kind of come to life as well. Let's add some color here around her. Some of my favorite artists to watch are more folk style, where it's the proportions are not right, the facials, but they always have so much energy and so much dynamic to their work that I just really enjoy seeing what they create. Their people and their images are not exact, and they don't look exact. It's like some of my favorite things. It's like they're so loose with their work, and it's so fun to see. Okay, so let's come here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us today inside of the Take 5 group. Oh, let's come to life. Now, since I've got this bright colors, these are the little top flowers on her head are a little bit too not colorful enough. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of this color in. So I'm just going to use the shape that's there to be able to paint. So I'm still going to use the shape of the flowers and add some color in there. So I'm just going to pop them in. So you don't have to use just because you cut it out. You can add the colors that you want in there. Cute. And just use it as a template to be able, if you don't feel comfortable drawing and it's not something that you feel comfortable, you can do this. You can add some of the paint right over top of the images to give it more of a painterly look. So you can add some of that look in there. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to add, I love the way this dress looks actually. It's like, I love it. I love that little pink color, the little swoosh of pink in there, and it's kind of got the little bit of peachy color back here. I love it. I love her little dress. I love her little dress. I'm going to make her legs or her body just a little bit lighter. So this is kind of dibby-dabbying and playing is what we're doing. Playing. And this is what I often do when I'm starting a little picture like this and just playing with my colors and coming up with something. So she's looking cuter all the time. Well, let's work a little bit more on this background. We're going to add a little bit other design in the background. And with these colors, I do like red in the background. So I'm going to take, this is, these are the Inktense ones as well. And I'm going to just start creating some pattern in the background. So I'm going to start with maybe some ovals this way. And I'm going to create some extra pattern in my background. And when I wet those are also going to change. So let's wet them. And I'm going to bring some more pattern into my background and smooth that color out. So these are all water soluble items. So let's pull you up close so you can see what this is doing. It's rather magical. And it's going to soften those colors, but I'm going to have some of that red, which I really wanted to have in the background too, besides just the pink. And this is going to soften down. Now, all of these are like a water soluble item. So at the end, I am going to have to clear coat it with a matte gel to be able to clear coat everything so it all locks everything down. And I'm not going to have items moving around. Now, I also like to do little tick marks. This is something, when you start doing mark making, it's something you have to practice. You wouldn't think you'd have to practice doing little scribble marks, but you do. You need to practice doing different ones to find out what feels good to you, what marks you like to make. Those who follow along on my Facebook page, you know I like to add a little heart somewhere, someplace around the line. So maybe I'll throw one, maybe I'll throw some down here. And I'm going to color this heart in. And I'm going to add a few hearts. Well, because it is a little Valentine fairy, right? After all. So I'm going to come in with this, but then I'm going to soften those hearts with some water. And then I'm going to outline them too. That looks cute. Ooh, I like it. I like it. So that goofy little painting I started out with is actually coming together. I'm going to soften some of these lines too with my water. I'm just hitting them, blending them out a little bit. I'm going to blend on my hearts as well. These really do come to life. The Inktense really do pop once you add the water to it. So they really come to life. So you can see how those marks just really kind of popped on out. Beautiful, beautiful. And I might add a purple one in here with this one too. Add a few more hearts. This is good too for writing on, like I can come in here and strengthen my lines as well on my flowers. Add a little bit more detail. And then again, come in with just a little bit of water. Soften them up. And add a little bit of color in there. And loosen those things up and loosen those items up. See how those are coming together. Let's see if I can't find some other things, because I do have I do have lots of things. Oh, and I did find those pencils that I was talking about that I wanted to use that I couldn't find. Let's take this China marker. China marker is another fun thing, adorable, thank you, a fun thing to have in your toolbox of items. They're not expensive and they are super fun. Let's put some X's and some O's in here. Let's do some work down here. Let's make some patterns. So I'm just developing my mark making on this. Okay, let's add some of this on her too. This little pen here, this China marker, it's made to mark on glass plastic, and that's basically what acrylic paint is plastic. So it is like you are you're writing on plastic. So it works great for that. They're super inexpensive. Let's make up a little bit more flowery kind of look in her hair. Cute, right? Cute, cute, cute. There's some pens I want to use, and those I can't find either. I have some neon jelly roll pens that are my favorite, and I like to keep those close because those are fun to work with. But I did find some of my other ones. So let's do a little bit of Kimberly work on here. Let's get her hands a little bit more defined. I still haven't decided what I'm doing for her neckline here for her rope, and maybe I need to do the Inktense and have it come around, and then maybe let's put a bow here, like it's a kitty bow on her neck, and she's hanging on to that as she's riding the cat, because this is a magical cat. We don't have any non-magical cats in this picture. So we're going to add a little bit of playfulness with that. Let's see, let's take my little brush. Let's add that little bit of line work in there. Okay, so let's darken this line up. Now we could bring that bow to life in her hands that she's hanging on to the cat with. Wendy, it reminds me of your little clay creations that you like to tell stories with and create little stories with it about. That kind of reminds me of that. For those who don't know Wendy, she does a lot of clay type of things, playful clay items, and a joy to watch her create those and have those come together to little sculpture pieces. It's amazing what she can do with clay. Okay, so let's bring it up a little bit closer. Let's take a look at some of those details that are in there. So we've got some of our hearts. She's writing on there. I love the little variation in the color and coming together. I'm going to give this kitty some, let's give her some pinker cheeks. Let's see what I've got for color here. I like doing pink cheeks with kind of a super scrubby brush. And like I said, I don't have, these ones are not expensive brushes. These are the kids' brushes that you can buy at Walmart. Okay, we're getting close to being done. And I might have wanted to add these cheeks on before I put her whiskers on. But let's put it, and I'm okay if they're a little rounder this time. Rubbing them on in. Right, she's coming together. She's coming together. Let's put, I've got about 4 minutes left, and I think it's Christy from Christy's Funky Junk Inspiration. She's on next, I believe. But don't quote me on it. It's either that or Jeannie's palette, because I didn't look. I was busy doing, let's put some little polka dots on this gal too. So this is when I'm going to use my Posca pen, and let's add a few dots, because all little magical kitties should have a few dots on them. Cute. Let's do some of the little shoe outline here. A little bit of that on there. Some kitty marks. I'm loving it. I'm thinking I'm really liking it. It looks great. I've got about 3 minutes to let's do some marks up here too. Now the Posca pens, it's important that you don't shake them up, but don't push too hard, because you can end up with a big old splash of paint and something like I just did there. But sometimes you have to be okay with that you get a big splash and that you just go with it, and that it's a part of the picture and it's a part of the design. So you just let it roll with that too. So you kind of have to be flexible with what your art materials, but the more you use your art materials, the more you're going to find out what the limitations are of it and how they work. So that's what you just kind of need to do. You just need to play. And if I could find my other pens, I would definitely do some outlining of my hearts with that, but I will probably finish up after I get off. Your grandchild got all she needs for watercolor painting. Great. And acrylics for Christmas. Slightly jealous as I want to try too. Well, yes, she needs to let you play too. Oh, and I found them. These are the jelly rolls. These are fun. These are more of a neon color. So they are super fun. I love these little things. They are great for adding little details. And I've had them for a while. When you use mixed media, a lot of times you don't use a lot of product, so you can keep your materials for quite a long time. Let's do a little work on her dress. Let's make some little funky little lines on her dress in the back here, because she should have a little pretty dress. And Uniball pen, I probably don't have that here. I wanted to add some lace. I wanted to make it look like it was lace here at the bottom. And I thought I would create it with my Uniball pen, and I can probably get that at the end. Okay, cute. Let's come in and do a little bit more line work on these flowers up here. And then I'm going to bring you close so you can kind of see where I'm ending now. But then I will post a picture at the end inside of the group when I'm all done, so you can get an idea of what she looks like. See how many fun layers, and there's that sweet little image that's still on there, so that little real face, but then we're adding all of that whimsical texture and layers. It's just art goodness. It brings me joy, and I often say create whatever brings you joy. So if you like playing with art and you like doing those things, you might want to come over and see me in the Take 5 VIP group. That's where I do most of all my mixed media pieces. And come on over and join us. We'd love to have you. Our doors are closing on February 2nd, and we'd love to have you join us. Bye now, and you can find the next person up in the Take 5 group.